Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another video. It is the game review to our 1-1 draw against Aston Villa yesterday at Goodison Park. A really dull, boring, slow game of football for us all to watch, which resulted in Everton barely scraping a draw at home against the side that I don't think have won many away games this season, and I don't think they've kept a clean sheet away from home either. We struggled massively yesterday. Again, there wasn't a lot of quality, there wasn't a lot of creativity, there wasn't a lot of energy, and there wasn't a lot of passion or fight, even though Carlo Ancelotti and Seamus Coleman both come out after the Wolves game and said, expect a much different performance against Aston Villa. Expect a performance where players turn up and they want to fight and they want to battle. I just didn't see enough of it yesterday, and like I said, ended up resulting in Everton having to sort of scrape a 1-1 draw in the last sort of 5 minutes of the game against the side that are in the relegation zone and are struggling quite heavily this season. So again, I think Everton started the game. I just want to say before we go into it, this is a video, as I'm sure you'll all know, not a live stream. A little bit caught up on time, so unfortunately I wasn't able to do a live stream for the review. However, we will be live on Sunday night with the game preview ahead of our Premier League fixture against Sheffield United. The penultimate game of the season will be live on Sunday night, with that one, of course, the game being on Monday, so don't forget to join us for that. And I also want to say a massive thank you. We hit 2,000 subscribers today, which is absolutely mind-blowing. Never in a million years did I think that my YouTube channel or any YouTube channel I was part of would hit 2,000 subscribers. It absolutely blows me mind. Nearly 2 years since we started the channel. It'll be 2 years next month. I didn't think we'd hit 200 subscribers, never mind 2,000. So I want to say a big thanks to each and every single person who has ever watched, liked, subscribed, shared a Mighty Blues video. I really do appreciate each and every one of you and all of your support. It means a massive amount to me. So let's get into it then. Everton started the game relatively okay. I felt it wasn't unbelievable. It was okay. We attacked, we were attacking. We had a chance within the first couple of minutes or so. Ball comes in. Dominic Calvert-Lewin tries the acrobatic sort of finish again, and it goes over the bar. And you're sort of thinking, right, okay, we're setting the tempo with your first 5 or 10 minutes. This did seem to be a little bit of a change of attitude. We seemed to want the ball an awful lot more. We were breaking forward. Bernard was getting on the ball a little bit, wasn't doing an awful lot with it, but he was getting on the ball, he was moving it forward, and you sort of felt within the first 10 or 15 minutes we were in sort of complete control of the game. We hadn't scored and we hadn't created anything overly clear-cut other than that one opportunity, like I said, that Dominic Calvert-Lewin fired over from a cross. But we were in control of the game. We had a lot of the ball and we were moving it forward. And you felt like in typical Everton fashion that, is this going to be another one of those situations where it just peters out, or are we actually going to continue to control the game here, break forward, get a goal, and ultimately go and kill the game off? Because I felt like all that Everton needed to do in that situation was get that goal. If Dominic Calvert-Lewin had scored that effort within the first sort of 50 seconds of the game, I think Aston Villa's confidence would have hit the floor. They'd have been down, their heads would have dropped, and they felt like it was almost an impossible task to get back, and Everton would have probably had a much easier afternoon. But after that first sort of 5 minutes where we come out and we looked fiery, again it sort of petered off a little bit. Aston Villa started to get a little bit more of the ball. Yes, they weren't creating anything, they didn't have an awful lot going forward, but their midfield started to console the ball a little bit more. And I think obviously when Mason Holgate went off injured and Mason goes down, and I think it's a shin injury, which ultimately has ended up seeing him miss the remainder of the season. I know there's only 2 more games, but the Liverpool Echo have reported today that Mason Holgate is due to miss the remainder of the Premier League season. But Mason went down and young Jared Branthwaite come on, and we'll talk about Jared Branthwaite in a minute. But I felt like when Mason went down, Villa thought that they could probably get out just a little bit more, and from that point on they started to control the ball a little bit more in midfield. Like I said, during this time, Everton had, that one clear opportunity, if you want to call it, within the first 5 or 10 minutes when the ball comes in and Dominic Calvert-Lewin tries the acrobatic shot. But other than that, there wasn't much in it for either side. Like I said, the ball was majority within the middle of the park. Villa were trying to break through, but we defended quite well. And like I said, Everton didn't really do an awful lot going forward from that point. Again, every time we tried to break forward, we either misplaced a pass or Villa sort of, caught up with us and ended up defending any opportunity we attempted to throw in. So, like I said, Mason Holgate goes off, Jared Branthwaite comes on. And I actually thought Jared Branthwaite was man of the match for me in an Everton shirt. He was absolutely fantastic. fantastic yesterday. He struggled when he come on against Wolves and, obviously gave away the free kick, and then ultimately it was his man that he let go. But from that point on, taking away that little sort of mad minute and a half when he first come on the pitch, I thought he had a really solid game against Wolves, to be honest with you. He put in a couple of good tackles. He didn't look out of place, for a young kid who was, again, 6 months ago playing, 8 months ago playing in, the lower divisions, and was probably the third, fourth choice centre-back at Carlisle. He's come into Everton Football Club, and within his first 6 or 7 months at the club, he's signed. He's obviously massively impressed in the under-23s. He's been given a new contract, which I've never known a player in such a short period of time to be given a contract extension. And then he's been pushed up to the first team, obviously with the addition of the 5 substitution rule and being able to have more substitutes available to you on the bench. He's been given his opportunity, and he's been called upon twice. One at half time against Wolves, where again, like I said, he had a little bit of a baptism of fire coming on and making the mistake, but other than that, he done really, really well. And one yesterday for an injured Mason Holgate, and he had a lot of pressure on his toes coming on yesterday, and I thought he filled in absolutely fantastically. He didn't look out of place whatsoever. Every opportunity he had in the air, he won. Big, tall, centre half. He was putting his head in different positions where he knew he'd get hit. He got knocked a couple of times. He got back up. He carried on the ball as well. I thought he was very, very composed. His passing was really, really good, and he grew in confidence as the game went on. And I thought he had a fantastic game yesterday. For me, he was my man of the match in an Everton shirt. He looked so composed, so calm, and again, even if Mason Holgate was fit for the remainder of the season, even if Mason Holgate's injury wasn't going to keep him out for the last 2 games, I'd still have put Jarrod Branthwaite in there starting. I really, really would. Even if Yerry Mina comes back and regains his fitness before the next couple of games before Sheffield United on Monday, I'd still keep Jarrod Branthwaite in there and put him next to Michael Keane, because I think he deserves it. Now, he's had 2 good performances off the bench, especially that one yesterday, and I think he deserves to play the remainder of the season. Now, the last couple of games, like I said, he was fantastic, but Jarrod Branthwaite come on, and like I said, Villa at that point, nothing down to him, of course, but Villa at that point started to control the ball a little bit more in the midfield. They weren't creating anything because they haven't got that much of a creative outlet. The likes of Jack Grealish was getting on the ball, he was winning fouls, he was bringing them forward, but they were lacking massively in the final third. A little bit like Everton, it was a dull game, like I said, it was a boring game, and the most disappointing thing, I think, coming out of yesterday and with the results and with the performances, I think I've gone past the point now, certainly me, I don't know if anybody else feels like this watching this, but I've gone past the point now of being disappointed with Everton, really. I've gone past the point of being angry. I've gone past the point of being frustrated, of being annoyed. I'm just getting bored now. I was just absolutely bored watching that game yesterday. It got to the point where I was sitting there and we were half an hour, 35 minutes into the game. It was about 10 minutes after the initial water break, and I just thought, how has this only been half an hour? It feels like I've been watching this for absolute days. We've just got no creative outlet whatsoever, and when the opposition has the ball against Everton, it's really, really tough to watch, because we rely on the opposition not creating something. We rely on the opposition putting the ball out of play or giving it back to us or having a wayward shot for us to then get the ball back. We don't actively seek to win the ball back. We don't break teams down. We don't chase teams. We don't put players under pressure. It's like we sort of adopt this imaginary rule with football, whereas if the opposition has the ball, like, other sports, I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's other sports where if the opposition has the ball, they have to actively make a mistake or they have to put the ball out of play for you to then regain possession. It was like we were adopting some sort of mad rule where every time Villa got the ball, we just thought, right, okay, we're just going to have to wait for them to either make a mistake or put a ball wide or have a shot and it go wayward. We can't attack them, we can't get at them, we can't break them down, we can't put pressure on them, we can't force them into a mistake. And again, I know that large part of that is because of the midfield. The midfield was absolutely dross again yesterday. Andre Gomez in the first 75 minutes of that game was awful. Every time he got the ball, he was trying to do too much with it. He was trying to play himself out of positions that he wasn't capable of doing. His passing was really, really poor. He got himself into a couple of situations where he ran into about 3 Villa players and then just got the ball nicked off him, and he's not fast enough, he's not quick enough to do that, and as well as that, he hasn't got a player next to him who's quick enough to make up for his mistakes, whereas last season, Andre Gomez would be able to put himself in certain situations where he might lose the ball, or he might be intercepted, or he might find himself giving away the ball with a sloppy pass, but whereas last season, he'd have a Gisagana who'd be pretty much on the toes of the opposition midfielder who was picking that ball up. He hasn't got it this season. He's got a Tom Davies who, let's be honest, is not good enough, hasn't got enough energy, doesn't get about the pitch quick enough. Okay, on the ball, he's not the worst footballer on the planet, but off the ball, both of our midfield are absent. They may as well not be there, and again, that showed yesterday. And there's certain times when Andre Gomes was maybe trying to do a little bit too much. He was maybe trying to force himself forward a little bit too much, or put himself in those situations. The only thing he could have done in that situation to benefit Everton was to throw himself on the floor and win a foul. Otherwise, we were always going to lose the ball, and ultimately he lost the ball. And like I said, Tom Davies didn't have the cover. Tom Davies couldn't get over. Tom Davies couldn't help him out, and that resulted in Aston Villa coming forward and putting us under more pressure. Like I said, the defence didn't have an awful lot to deal with yesterday. It was a better performance per se than the one against Wolves, but that was because the side we were coming up against were nowhere near as good as that Wolves side. They didn't have enough creativity. They didn't have anything really to really hurt us. But anyway, we go in at half time, and again, it's another game where Everton have not impressed whatsoever. We haven't created much. There's still all to play for in the game. Aston Villa are desperately trying to get forward. They're desperately trying to score because they know how much rides on this game. They knew at that point that if they weren't to pick up the 3 points, or they weren't to at least get a point out of this game, they were going to struggle to survive in the Premier League. So they knew what they needed to do. And for me, again, it just seemed like another game where the players had their feet up and the players were on holiday a little bit. And I worry a little bit that Theo Walcott's goal has sort of clouded the, as bad of a performance as it was, because it was dull, it was boring, there was nothing to us, we didn't have any energy, we were just plain, we were vanilla. That's exactly what we were vanilla, there was nothing to us. And again, like I said, Theo's goal, which we'll go on to talk about in just a moment, I feel like it might have sort of clouded the performance for me, because if we play like that again against Sheffield United, who are looking to bounce back, by the way, have just come off the back of a disappointing defeat that they'll see against a Leicester side, who again weren't in great form. So at Sheffield United, we'll be looking to bounce back on Monday night. It'll be a very, very tough game, and if we play like that, are we going to get our arses handed to us again? And are we going to be sitting here again on Tuesday night saying, well, the players are on the beach and the attitude's not good enough and the performances aren't good enough? Because let's be honest, yesterday, for large parts of that game, the players looked like they were on the beach. We only seemed to improve not even when Villa scored, we only seemed to improve when Villa missed that opportunity where they had a massive chance to go 2-0 up, and the player, basically clears it off our line and puts it out for a goal kick, which is a madness. But like I said, we go in at half time, and again, it's not impressive whatsoever. We've had a couple of okay opportunities, like I said, that one within the first couple of minutes where Dominic Calvert-Lewin's put it over. Other than that, we've broke forward a couple of times, we've controlled the ball slightly in the midfield, but Villa have had their fair share of possession as well. I don't think the possession massively favoured Everton. They've had their couple of opportunities where they've tried to break through, they've tried to play through us, but defensively we've been quite strong. I thought defensively we played well yesterday. I thought Michael Keane had an okay game as well. Other than the goal, which again was a really bizarre one to concede, another ball in the box. How many goals do we concede from balls in the box? But other than that, like I said, defensively we've done okay. But I feel for the defence, I really, really do. I feel for your Michael Keanes, I feel for your Mason Allgates when he plays, I feel for Jared Branthwaite, I feel for Luca Dean, because they must be looking at the rest of this team thinking, not only now have we got no midfield and the midfield is absolutely absent and absolutely ghostly, but also the forward line really, really disappointed me yesterday. They have to do more. They really, really have to do more. And I understand that there's no creativity, and I understand that it's frustrating, and I understand that when the likes of Richarlison's given an opportunity, he usually does very, very well with it and he takes it. But again, we're not in the situation, certainly not until we can bring transfers in where players can just sort of stand there and go, well, I'm not getting any creativity, I'm not being given any opportunities, so I can just stand there. The wingers yesterday were poor again. They do a lot without doing anything, do they really? I think Alex Iwobi had a better game than Bernard, because I think he put a couple of okay balls into the box, and when I say a couple, I do mean a couple. He fizzed one in during the first half, which if Dominic Calvert-Lewin had battled on would have been, a really good cross and ultimately may have ended in a goal. And again, he put another couple in which didn't go quite well. But Bernard, again, on the flip side, does a lot without doing anything really, doesn't he? He dances around, but nothing ever comes to it. Again, he picked the ball up on a couple of occasions, a couple of nice touches and decent passes through the midfield. But at this point in time, when we lack so much creativity and when the forwards aren't getting into games whatsoever, and when we're having literally one shot, I don't think we had a shot on target within the first 60 minutes at Goodison Park against the side that are fighting relegation. That's just unacceptable. And again, I know defensively you can say, well, Iwobi had a decent game, and you can say, well, Bernard on the ball wasn't that bad, but if your wingers aren't contributing to goals, or they aren't scoring goals, or they aren't at least putting really good balls in to question the attackers, then they're not doing enough for me. I'm not really interested at the moment in seeing how good Bernard can play defensively or how much Alex Iwobi helps Seamus Coleman out, because ultimately they're not doing what they should be doing going forward, and that's not good enough for me. You look at Theo Walcott come on, and within 10-15 minutes of him coming on, not only has he put a really good ball across the box, which for me, if Dominic Calvert-Lewin gambles on, he scores, but he's also scored the goal, which has kept us in the game ultimately. You don't get any of that from the other wingers, certainly not Bernard or Alex Iwobi. Again, that's excluding obviously Anthony Gordon, because I don't want to talk negatively about him, because I think he's played fantastic since the restart. He didn't do an awful lot yesterday, but there wasn't an awful lot for him to do. But anyway, like I said, we go in at half time. It's pretty dull, it's pretty boring, it's 0-0. Where we expecting anything different from this side and in this current situation, I don't know. We come out the second half and all of a sudden you're expecting a little bit more from Everton. Carlo Ancelotti makes a few changes early on. He decides to bring on the likes of Moise Keane and Gylfi Sigurdsson in the second half. Obviously, Jared Branthwaite's already on at this point. Theo Walcott comes on as well. And, you're sitting there and you're thinking, right, okay, maybe we can push now. Maybe we can attempt to create something. Maybe the team talk at half time has been, yes, okay, we haven't conceded, but we shouldn't really be standing out and thinking we're at home to Aston Villa, a side that are fighting relegation, and let's just try and not concede. We really should be pushing to try and win this game. I know we haven't been in fantastic form, and I know things haven't been well, but again, like we said in the game preview, we should have really been stamping our authority there and going, we've got nothing to play for, but we're going to play for some pride. We're going to play for the win. We're going to play to, again, sorry if it has any indication or if it has any result in Aston Villa's relegation, sorry about that, but we need to win for us. And again, it just didn't look like we were really interested in doing that yesterday. It looked like we were just sort of, right, we'll just chill and whatever happens. And then that all come to fruition, obviously, when Aston Villa scored their goal. Obviously, again, not impressed whatsoever within the midfield. I was pretty much waiting on that to happen, that goal from Aston Villa. It was dreadful, it was boring, there was nothing to us, there was no creativity, there was no agency. The strikers at this point looked totally disinterested. The running around that we've seen over the last 2 or 3 weeks just completely stopped, and they just looked like they weren't involved, or they didn't want to be involved. Again, the defence weren't really doing much because Aston Villa weren't really coming at us an awful lot. The midfield was absent, even with the changes, with the players coming on. We didn't see much of a change. Anthony Gordon coming on as well, again, didn't quite get his foot on the ball as much as he probably have liked. And then Aston Villa have one opportunity. They throw one ball into the box. It's a free kick, again, another stupid free kick to concede. I can't remember who conceded the free kick, but they put one ball into the box, and again, Everton, under pressure, completely capitulate, and the lad gets a touch on it with his foot from about 10 foot in the air. I don't know how, but anyway, he gets a touch on it. Jordan Pickford, I think, just wanted to dive because he hasn't done an awful lot in the game, so he just tries to dives completely wildly, and it goes in. And at that point, you're sitting there, and I'll admit, I sat there and I said, that's it. We aren't getting back into this game over. I do not see the fight. I do not see the agency in this team to want to get back into this game. Now, thankfully for Everton, Aston Villa have got a really, really poor defensive record, certainly away from home. They haven't kept a clean sheet away from home at all this season. And thankfully for Everton, we were able to push Andre Gomez a little bit more up the field, and Theo Walcott saved the day. We'll talk about that in a second. But like I said, Aston Villa scored their goal, and it wasn't an immediate reaction from Everton. It wasn't like right, okay, we're 1-0 down now, we have to get back into this game. It was almost like, a little bit like against Wolves, it was like, well, we're 1-0 down. Are we really that arsed? Probably not. Let's just continue with what we're doing, really, and hope that they don't have another set piece, or hope that they don't get lucky again. And again, there wasn't much of a change in the play whatsoever. We were average at best with the ball at our feet. We were giving it away far too many times. We weren't creating anything whatsoever. Carlo Ancelotti tried to change the game by bringing on, more creative players in Moise Keane for Richarlison, who didn't have a good game whatsoever. I thought Richarlison was really poor yesterday. Bringing Anthony Gordon on as well, brought Theo Walcott on, and again, we just weren't doing anything. We didn't look like we wanted to react. We didn't look like we wanted any part of the game whatsoever. Again, Aston Villa continuing to try and break us forward. I think at this point they were a little bit nervous because they had that lead and they were trying so desperately to not concede and not give that lead away. And it felt as an Evertonian for me watching it that they were pretty solid with it. In fact, I was massively shocked when we scored. I was massively shocked. I was like, oh my God, we've actually scored a goal. How have we done that in a game that we don't look like scoring a goal in? And again, similar to the Southampton game a couple of weeks before, it was a moment of quality. It was a moment of sheer quality by Theo Walcott. But before that, Aston Villa have another opportunity. They put another ball into the box. Defence at this point were caught lack of concentration completely. I don't know who necessarily it was to blame, whether it was Jared Branthwaite, Michael Keane, or Luca Dean on the far side. But again, there's an Aston Villa player is left with absolute yards of space, miles on side, and he's literally got the ball on the line, and all he has to do is put his foot on it, whether it be his toe on it, whether it be side foot on it, but all he has to do is literally touch it towards the goal, and somehow he manages to clear it completely off the line and it goes miles wide. I don't really know how he's done it. It was even more of a clear-cut chance than Adama Traore's a couple of days ago in the Wolves game where he had the opportunity to make it 4-0 and it comes across the box and he's got an open goal and he guides it onto the bar. This was even more of a chance. The ball is literally on the line and the lad somehow, not only does he miss, but he defends it really, really well. In fact, at first glance, I thought, that's a fantastic tackle. Who's that? Is that Branthwaite? Is that Keane? That's a brilliant challenge. And it wasn't. It was the Aston Villa forward who completely, hits it off the line. And I think that was the wake-up call. And I say wake-up call because we looked the most dangerous in this game within the last 5 or 10 minutes of the game. We looked the most like getting anything out of it after that point, and that's for me really embarrassing in itself, because again, I keep reiterating, we were playing a side fighting relegation in the relegation zone who haven't had a good season whatsoever and whose away record is absolutely abysmal, and it was only at the point where they've become a real possibility of them going 2-0 up. And let's have it completely right here. If they go 2-0 up, they win the game, and we're sitting here talking about another shock and disgraceful Everton performance where we've lost against the side we shouldn't be losing against. But they miss it, and like I said, for some reason, whether it was the second water break, whether it was the players just sort of decided that they were a little bit harsh towards the end of the game, the last sort of 10, 15, 20 minutes, we looked better. We looked like we wanted to get something out of it. We looked like we thought, hang on, let's spare ourselves from the embarrassment a little bit here, and let's just try and get anything out of the game if we can. And, we broke forward, like I said. Andre Gomes adopted this sort of forward position a little bit more, where he wasn't trying to defend an awful lot, because it's become quite apparent in recent weeks that Andre Gomes simply cannot defend. He's just not good enough. He's not quick enough. He doesn't get about the pitch enough. When he's asked to do the box-to-box job, he just isn't able to do it. And he was sort of pushed up a little bit more, and he was putting the odd decent cross into the box. Like I said, Theo Walcott come on, and he was putting good balls into the box. He was having a little bit of time on the ball. He looked a little bit dangerous for me again. Similar to Jared Branthwaite, I think Theo Walcott now has to start the game against Sheffield United on Monday, and then ultimately the last game of the season, because I think he's probably our most dangerous out of the wingers. But Andre Gomes adopts this new sort of position where he goes out on the wing a little bit, and he has the opportunity to solely focus on attacking, and he puts a good ball into the box, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin has a golden chance to make it 1-1, and it just so happens that if Dominic Calvert-Lewin puts that chance into the back of the net, we win the game, because a couple of minutes later Theo Walcott puts his opportunity in and would have gone 2-1 up, but Dom doesn't put his chance into the box. In fact, it's an absolute sitter from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Listen, I love Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and I'm not about to sit here and flip-flop my opinion on Dom and sit here and say, oh, he's not good enough all of a sudden, or he's dreadful. He's had a poor restart to the Premier League. He hasn't settled. He hasn't been able to get his foot on the ball. He's done too much running out of the box, and instead of picking the ball up and turning and trying to create something, he's actually picking the ball up on the outside of the box, which is the right thing to do in a lot of situations, because he hasn't got the creativity to feed in the ball. But instead of then, like I said, turning and trying to either run at the defence or find Richarlison or find somebody else, he's just picking it up, moving further away from the goal, and then passing it back to a midfielder, which is just effectively wasting energy. But again, I think this is the big issue that people have with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, is that, people I understand that he doesn't get a lot of opportunities, understand that there's not a lot of creativity, but whereas with Richarlison on the other hand, and this wasn't the case yesterday because Richarlison had a poor game yesterday, but whereas with Richarlison on the other hand, he might get a glimmer of an opportunity, but more than likely he's going to score. If he has a one-on-one, he'll score. If the ball comes across the box and he's on the end of it, he'll more than likely score, like we've seen in the Southampton game. If a ball comes across, he's more than likely putting it into the back of the net. With Dominic Calvert-Lewin, it's not the same. And I think this is the big issue that Evertonians have with Dom at the moment, is that we understand he doesn't get an awful lot of opportunities. We understand the creativity's not there. But when he does get a golden opportunity, he just simply doesn't do enough with it. And this was shown yesterday. It's a really good ball fizzed across the box. And it's a golden opportunity. For me, it's an easy opportunity. All that Dom has to do is wrap it round with his left foot and put it in the back of the net. The goalkeeper, it's too quick. Everything's happening too quick for Pepe Reina to even realise. So the goalkeeper's not going to get anywhere near it. But ultimately, Dom gets a decent connection on it and puts it wide. And you're sort of sitting there thinking that's disappointing, because that for me is a golden opportunity, not only for us to get back into the game, but for Dominic Calvert-Lewin to silence the people that are very much saying, right, okay, well, yes, he doesn't have an awful lot of opportunities, but when he has the opportunities, he doesn't do anything with it. That sort of proved that theory a little bit, and I get that he's probably low on confidence, and I get that it's a difficult situation at the moment, and he does a lot of running, and he has had a good season, let's be honest. He's had a very, very good season. I think he's still our top goal scorer, if not second behind Richarlison. But they're the type of opportunities when it's crunch time, when it's balls to the wall, when it means something, when it's only one opportunity in a game. That's the time that you have to put it into the back of the net. It's alright with Don getting 5 or 6 and scoring 1 or 2, but when in a game you're only going to get 1 and you have to score that 1, I just think far too often he doesn't score that 1. And again, I'm not going to go too much in him. I'm not saying he's not good enough. I'm not saying get rid of him. I'm not saying bring somebody in to replace him. I'm just saying in that situation yesterday, he should have done an awful lot more, because it wasn't a difficult decision. Let's be honest. The one against Southampton a few days ago, about a week or so ago, I'd probably sit in and say, right, okay, he's tired to hit it on the volley, but it's a little bit more of a different situation. It's coming in at him from a height. It's coming in from him at an angle. Yes, he probably has to adjust his body a little bit more. He doesn't have enough time, maybe. This one is clear as day. He should be doing an awful lot better. He should be putting the ball in the back of the net, and he doesn't. Ultimately, like I said, we missed that opportunity, and you're thinking, is that it? Is that going to be the chance for us to get back into the game? Are we going to rue that? And just so happens Theo Walcott comes to save the day. Again, a good ball in from Andre Gomez, I believe it is, and Theo gets a fantastic looping header on it, loops over everybody, and the defender tries to clear it on the line, but it's already way over the line. I don't know why Sky Sports attempted to say that it mightn't be Theo Walcott's goal, or attempted to say that they're going to double check that it's definitely Theo Walcott's goal, when the defender doesn't actually make contact with the ball until it's over the line, which in principle and automatically states that it's Theo Walcott's goal. But that's Sky from you, trying to take away goals from players that deserve it. Again, like I said, I thought Jared Branthwaite for me was our best player yesterday, probably closely followed by Luca Dean, and then Theo Walcott wasn't too far behind, because he didn't have an awful lot to do. He wasn't on the pitch for an awful lot long, for awful long, but his output was more than Bernard's was in 60-70 minutes, more than Iwobi's was in 60-70 minutes, more than either of those players' outputs have been in the last 4 or 5 games. So I'm really, really impressed with Theo Walcott. A fantastic header, and we get back into the game. And then again, after that point, we try and push for a winner. There's not much more going on. Villa defend quite well, and ultimately the game pitters out, and the tempo pitters out, and the referee blows, and it's a 1-1 draw. And again, like I said, overall, I can't believe I'm quite sitting here, similar to the Southampton game, and this is no disrespect to the opponent, this is no disrespect to Aston Villa, it's no disrespect to Southampton, but I can't believe I'm sitting here saying that I'm relieved that we've managed to get a point at home against sides that we should be beating at home, especially the game yesterday against Villa. We should have been beating them. They're fighting in a relegation battle. They haven't kept an away clean sheet all season. I don't know exactly how many games they've won away all season, but it hasn't been many, I can tell you that. And we're, clinching draws in the last 5 or 10 minutes of the game, and then saying, oh, we've got to be relatively happy about that. It's another game where the only positive is we didn't lose, and that's not good enough for me. And again, in a similar fashion to the Southampton game, where we sat in and said, right, okay, we haven't lost, but if we play like that against Wolves, we'll get our asses handed to us. I feel like it's a little bit Groundhog Day. I feel like I'm sitting here again saying, right, okay, we haven't lost, but if we play like that against Sheffield United, we'll get our asses handed to us. And I'm really, really not looking forward to that game on Monday, because I think Sheffield United are looking to bounce back. They're still looking to fight to potentially finish within a Champions League position or at least a solid Europa League position. And I just think they'll we'll go to Bramall Lane or Bramall Road, and we'll just get our asses handed to us because we won't be able to put up with it. But ultimately, again, just to summarise, listen, a dull, boring game of football. I think it was even before the full-time whistle, there was a rumour that had come out, and it was actually reported by a lot of people. Jay Burt in the Telegraph and the Liverpool Echo began to report it, and then Paul Joyce reported that Everton have actually officially bid. Apparently, again, like I said, according to the Telegraph, according to Paul Joyce, Everton have bid around between 14 to 18 million pound for Southampton midfielder Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, a player that we've been linked with multiple times over the last couple of weeks and months or so. So make of that what you will, but it says a lot that even during a game of football, it's coming out that Everton are bidding for midfield players, because it's very apparent that the midfield is just absolutely dross. We're going to do a transfer video at some point within the next couple of weeks or so, probably before the game against Bournemouth on the last game of the season, where we sit down. We're going to talk about Højbjerg, we're going to talk about Gabriel, as well as various other players. But again, just not good enough from Everton yesterday. Quite a dull, boring, and again, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I'm beyond the point of frustration, I'm beyond the point of anger. I'm just getting bored of watching it now, and we've only got another 180 minutes of watching this team, and then, like I said, I hope those players that are currently putting a blue shirt on and going out and genuinely have that mindset of, well, it's the season's over now and I'm done and there's not much to play for, so I'm on the beach sort of esque mindset. I really hope that when those players are on the beach in the next few weeks or so on their holidays, I hope to get a phone call saying your work rate wasn't good enough, your fight wasn't enough, your passion wasn't enough, so you're either getting fucked off or you're sitting in the bench or the under-23s for the remainder of the next season, because that wasn't good enough. But there you go. We'll have to wait. I think it's going to be a big opportunity for Carlo Ancelotti in the transfer window. He spoke again in his post-game press conference about how important it is to improve this squad and how much this squad needs improving, and I think we can all see and agree with that. But again, just to summarise the game, another dull Everton performance, another performance that's ended in a draw, probably an undeserved draw as well, to be perfectly honest with you. And I'm really not looking forward to the game against Sheffield United on Monday night. But regardless of that, we will be previewing the game on Sunday live during the night, some point between 7:30. I'll tweet out a little bit later on in the day on Sunday as a more of an estimated time. But we will be live on Sunday night previewing Monday's game against Sheffield United, so don't forget to join us for that one. Big thanks for watching once again. A massive thank you for 2,000 subscribers. Really do appreciate all of your support. It means an absolute massive amount to me. It really does. Again, we're the channel's flying at the moment, and it's all thanks to each and every one of you. So massive thank you. Really do appreciate it. We'll be live on Sunday. Like I said, if you've enjoyed the video, please do hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. Share the video. Let's get as many people in here as possible, and leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll be going through those comments. But there you go. Big thanks for watching. Join us on Sunday for the live game preview to the game against Sheffield United. Let's hope that we can see a different Everton. I don't expect to see a different Everton, but let's just hope that we can see a different Everton. Big thanks for watching. Please leave a like if you've enjoyed, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.